I said last year Mount was the most underrated player in Europe. A lot of people on the Terrace are going to look silly this year. Cough Yankee cap.
That's the most underrated player in Europe.
Perhaps you think, obviously, we've seen the Chelsea fans burning shirts. We've seen Astrid Wet smashing up a signed picture of him, and then I don't know what else she did afterwards. Young Dan,
if you're seeing that tells you the algorithms are pushing her towards you.
Yeah.
So I haven't seen
What are you gonna say?
Young Dan and Don, I understand you follow her OnlyFans. What else is she doing on there? I don't know.
Shut up, man.
The name's West.
Shut up.
Perhaps you think Mason Mount might do well at Man United?
Look, I'll be honest. I said last night with Mount and Havertz, I think everyone needs to calm down. Everyone needs to let them cook, right? And they won't. People will do what they do because this is the world we live in nowadays where people want to go and look. If Havertz has a good community shield, everyone's going to say that he's about to take over the Premier League. I've already had Duad tell me that he's going to be top 3 midfielders within the first 3 months. Sometimes just let people cook. I don't think either of their prices are insane in this market. I think if I'm going to look at both of them,
what for Havertz?
Last
65
I don't
million
think
for Havertz.
it's that bad. No, I don't. In this
That's
market,
I get the argument. Wait,
in this market, I don't.
I get the argument. I get the argument of like let them cook and all that, and like give patience and all. But the whole point, like we're supposed to give, like we're giving our predictions on what's going to happen. And
give your predictions, but some people are being shameless. And let me just on Mount. If I look at Mount and Havertz, right? If we look at their last 3-4 years at Chelsea, I'm going to say honestly, Mount has had an 18-month period maybe where he was cooking. He was good. Yeah. Mount is a bit of, for me, a product of Chelsea's toxic fan base where you've got all the English lot love him and all the non-English lot hate him because they think he got picked over other players just because he's English. And it's crap. It's crap. It is what it is. I'm not taking sides on neither. For that price for his age, we have to remember he's been a regular for England. There is such a thing as English tax. I don't think it's that bad. I think he's got something to offer. As for Havertz, the fact that we're going to move on to this, the fact that Arsenal are being linked with Tchouaméni, they're being linked with potentially going in for Caicedo. The look is that Arsenal are going for another midfielder, right? So if we're going by that theory, they've just paid 105 for Declan Rice, right? Odegaard is not going to be budged from that squad. If they're going for a third midfielder of Tchouaméni level, right, then Havertz is going there as a squad player, right? So all of a sudden, does it look as bad having Havertz off the bench? I don't think that looks that bad to me. Now, 65 million people can say it's a lot of money, but in this market, is 65 million really a lot of money? We just said Fulham wanted 90 million for Paulinho. So really?
I get what you're saying, because 65 million in this market for certain players, you look at that and it's not a bad price. But looking at the 3 years that you've seen from Havertz, 65 million is an absolute bump. I don't know how we managed to get that out of
inflation.
Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is?
Chelsea were playing him, and I don't know how much of Havertz you saw, whether you actually saw 90-minute games or whether you were just watching the highlights, which is not a problem, and that's not a dig, and that's not a you either. That's in general of what he was doing when he was at Leverkusen.
I don't know about Leverkusen.
So what? We're just going to forget about the 3 years that we've.
It's a different league, a different pace.
Guys, let Gav make his point a second, and we'll come back.
If you like, it winds me up. Like if you're buying a striker, someone who's an out-and-out number 9, or you're buying a goalkeeper, you might know that that's exactly what you're getting when they come to your club. When you get someone who is a little bit different, look at what Chelsea did with João Felix. Like, didn't play him in the way that he's known to have played over the years, and he's come to Chelsea and looked dead because he's not being played properly. And I just feel that before anyone starts bagging and starts having a dig, let's wait and see the way that Arteta wants to play Havertz. And if he plays him the way that he is best, playing off the front man, linking play, bringing wide players in, and then we can have a conversation. He's driving from deep, and for me, that tells me that Odegaard needs to come deeper and allow Havertz to play further forward.
And we'll come on to Arsenal a little bit later, because I want to just keep it on Mount, just topically, before we move into the other clubs later on the show. But there's a lot of Chelsea fans that are attacking Mason Mount. I'd say burning shirts, peeing on shirts, smashing up things. Why is he being called a snake and a son of a gun when it's been revealed that it was Chelsea that weren't keen to keep him? I'm a little confused how it's like if I break it up with my other half, I can't then have a go at her and call her a snake or a cheat if she then gets with another man. I don't understand.
Yeah.
But I guess it's that he's gone to Man United, another English club.
I'll tell you why, and I've said it on the top 6 before, and Don didn't like that. I said you guys are the most spoiled fan base in England, and you don't like that. Look, you're shaking your head, but it's true. You guys are the most spoiled fan base. You guys spent $1 billion on players, and obviously a lot of people had to leave. The one man that leaves and goes to Man United, and it's crazy that I'm defending him right now because I'm not even like everyone saw that I didn't want this signing to happen. Okay, but this guy left for his own good. He went to a club that valued him more, gave him the money that he wanted, and clearly a manager that believes in him. And you guys act like that, as if you just didn't transform your whole club from top to bottom and transform your team from top to bottom. Just because he went to Manchester United, you guys are acting like this. And this is why you guys will always be the most spoiled fan base in England. You're getting all that happening, but you're upset that he went to a team that he wanted. Just makes no sense.
That's fine. I can't speak for those fans that are doing that online. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people do things for clout online, so I can't speak for them.
I'm not talking about you, obviously, personally. I'm talking about just Chelsea.
I get that. You're gonna have that in every fan base, regardless of a player leaving, whether he's a snake or not. You're gonna get certain people going online and burning shirts, right? But with Mason, the time that he's coming to the first team, Frank Lampard, a lot of fans used to call him Frank Lampard's like teacher's pet because every game he'll be played every single game. Tuchel played every single game. But what's happened with Mason is he hasn't been playing well for England and for Chelsea for about a season now. For a year, I would say, he hasn't been playing well for Chelsea and England. And as you can see, that a lot of players are being shown the exit door, and we're bringing in new quality of players. So Mason knows. I was saying this so many times on streams of Gem. You know, a lot of Chelsea fans when we're speaking internally. I said, honestly, how I look at it right now, if Mason's stalling on signing a new contract, because we wanted him to stay. Poch wanted him to stay. We offered him a new deal.
Did Poch want him?
Poch wanted him to stay.
He said, because I swear he's come out in the last 24 hours or whenever it was and said that he wasn't part of the plans.
Yeah, no, Poch, what Poch said in the interview was that we only want to work with players that are committed to the project. Obviously, Mason's not committed because he wanted to leave to go United. Because again, that's what he said. He felt he was more valued there. But what I was saying during the season when we were speaking about why we think Mason's leaving, I said honestly, I think he's running from the graft because he's not guaranteed a starting place anymore. If you look at our starting 11 going forward,
yeah, but then he didn't get paid for what he did the last few years.
But if he's not guaranteed a starter place, then why would Poch want him so much?
Yeah, but he can still be a player of quality. And if you spoke to me during the season, you would know that I said I don't mind Mason staying. I don't mind Mason staying as a squad player because certain games, if he's playing well, he can definitely find his way into the 11 because I actually rate him as a footballer. But we can't ignore the fact that he was on poor form, and when he started actually negotiating on that contract, he was in poor form. If you're going to negotiate a contract on poor form, I'm sorry, you can't be asking for crazy amounts because you're not going to get that. Apparently, he was asking for the same as Reece James. Reece James, when he got that 6-year contract, just came off an amazing world-class season. So, of course, he's going to get that amount. Do you know what I mean? So, with Mason, I was saying it throughout the season. I honestly think that he's kind of looked at it and thought, you know what? I'm not guaranteed to start anymore. I can go to United where I'm going to start pretty much every week and get more money. I'm going to move on. I don't look at him as a snake because realistically, it doesn't really matter where he goes. Like Premier League club
should be more focused on all these players that keep going to Arsenal because I've been told this is a rivalry and this is not a rivalry. You've been selling your players to Arsenal for years. But once one of these players
for me, Staffy, honestly, I don't think he's a snake. I don't think he's a snake for going to Man United. I couldn't care less if he's gone to United. He could have gone Leeds. What it is for me and Mason, for me, what I think, I'm disappointed because I actually wanted him to graft and fight for his place. But he wanted it
that's the key. That is the key there. I do hear that.
Listen, not when Reece James is getting a big contract. No. And I forgot who else was getting a big contract after that couple of years when they won the Champions League. I understand why he feels that way. Because he didn't get the big payday.
I see.
But did he deserve it though?
Hold on. I do see. But hold on. If you look at Reece James, Reece James is sat there on a big contract, and whether it's his fault or not, he's had a lot of injuries recently. The one thing I can tell you on Mason Mount right now, and this is why I mean the fact he's been given the 7 shirt, we now know it is Mason Mount is the type of player that needs a run of games. He is not a player that you can put in, pull out, put in, pull out. When Mason Mount was being played every single game by Frank Lampard, he was one of Chelsea's best players. So he's probably looking at that and going, yeah, but I'm not able to earn it because you're not playing me enough. So play me enough. And as for the grafting thing, though, I do get that because John Stones could have left a few seasons ago. I always rate a player 50 times more than when they're willing to stay and fight for their place. So I do understand that as well. But
you see that here that you just.
Go on, G.
No, I was going to say that.
Go on.
No, I was going to say you just mentioned that when Frank Lampard played him, he was one of Chelsea's best players. Chelsea weren't good back then. So the level that they were at when he was one of Chelsea's best players isn't the level that they're trying to.
Hold on. I meant that period. So we can go into that whole season. We can go into the Tuchel period. Mount in the Champions League final against City was one of Chelsea's best players. People will say about Havertz,
but Chelsea,
for me, Mount was pivotal to that.
Campaign.
I'm not saying that obviously they won the Champions League with Tuchel. He was like great in that campaign. I'm not dissing that. But in terms of them taking themselves to that next level, obviously we at that period of time it was just only Liverpool, Manchester City, and Liverpool. So they weren't really pushing, in my opinion, that kind of barrier to get into that gap. They were trying. Look
at that. But how old was Mount then as well, though? If you look at how old.
No. But this is what I'm saying is that if we're saying that in that period of time, like we're going to use that period. If we're going to say that he was good in that period, which is absolutely fine, because I thought he actually was cooking during that period of time. Yeah. It's not like they were amazing and he was cooking. They were okay and he was cooking. If Chelsea are now trying to go to the next level, they're going to need potentially different players.
Yeah, but in his head, bro, he won them a Champions League. This is what you need to understand. In his head, he was the best player for a couple years on that team, and they won a Champions League. In his head, this is not my opinion, okay? This is what he is thinking. If I Mount, this is what I'm thinking. I won this team a Champions League. I was arguably the best player. The fans were saying he's the best player for a couple years. Okay, he won the award for best player of the season twice in a row. So in his head, if anyone was next up for a big pay, was him. If I am him and I have to reprove myself because we just got new management in, new ownership, and I still didn't get paid, I would be pissed. This is what he's thinking. It's not my opinion because the people in the comments saying, "Well,
Staffy, I get that, but that's not why he's being called a snake.
Him, it's what he thinks." No, that doesn't make you a snake.
So why is he being called a snake though? I don't get it.
Because he's gone to Man United. It's another English club. Like you have to understand. Like
so, where is he supposed to go?
Exactly.
Is he meant to go to Saudi or something?
No, not Saudi, but this.
Dan. So by your logic, James Maddison's a snake.
Well, his team got relegated, and they're not like rivals. We're not like rivals with Leicester City.
We're rivals with everyone. In that case, let's not sign any English players.
Hold on.
I'm not accepting what those fans did. I'm not accepting what those fans did.
Dan, what you just said there, for me, defines a snake more than what Mount did. Yeah, because what Maddison did, like I've been very vocal on Anthony Gordon being an Everton boy and leaving them when the going got tough, right? So for me, if I look at Maddison, if you don't want to be a snake, stay there and get your team back, right? But he said, no, I want to go there. Now, I get it. He don't want to play in the Championship, but Mount has literally been told you're not really too much part of the plans. So I don't feel that snaky.
You have to let me finish.
If a girl leaves you, what you're supposed to do? Chase after her? No, you go and get.
No, but it's different. If a girl leaves you and then it goes to your best mate, that's different.
But Dan,
it's different from that.
It
depends how good happening.
Guys.
Go on.
I hear you on that, boys. I'm going to go to some of these super chats here. First,
let me ask Dan a question. Go on.
I'm going to do the question quickly because we have got to move on to other subjects as well. Go
on. Dan, where are we supposed to sell him? Because he was always going to get Premier League interest. So where were we supposed to sell him? We're supposed to hold on to him and say, do you know what? We can't sell him to United because they're rivals. We can't sell him to Liverpool because they're rivals. We're going to have to wait for Saudi to come in for Mason. We're going to have to wait for Italy to come in for Mason. Where are we going to sell this guy? He doesn't want to sign a new contract, and we're not going to let him go on a free. So where are we supposed to?
He went to the manager that wants him the most for 4 years since he was in Vitesse in Holland. He wanted him, and the club was willing to give him the money that Chelsea wouldn't give him.
I'm just explaining why he's being called a snake. And by the way, this is not me accepting those people on Twitter like burning that shirt.
Yeah, but that's all just. I don't really think. Listen, them burning a Mount shirt. Some people are like, oh my god, this is disgraceful. It don't really matter. It's not like burning a flag that represents something or a nation or a group of people. It's Mason Mount shirt.
Not only that, I don't think they would do it if the cameras were off.
I would say, Dan, what you're doing here, the whole you won't sell the rivals thing. This is Dan by name, Dan by nature. There's a Daniel Levy thick connection here. A Spurs That's what this is, bro. Right.
Mount does represent proper Chelsea, though, to
Like,
be fair.
Yeah.
for me,
Right,
Poch is a snake. For me, Poch is a snake.
I hear you on that. Let me go to these super chats here,
He
please,
is a
guys. This
snake.
one here says also, okay, we'll come back to that one in a minute. Sorry, this one says Poch got rejected by Man United to Ten Hag. Mason Mount got rejected. I think it means by Poch. Sorry,
No, he
rejected
rejected
Poch
Poch.
for Man United and Ten Hag. I think Mace will arrive. Mace will arrive. I hope you're right on that, bro. This here says Bet Mo is not happy about Onana leaving Inter. He's a top goalkeeper on
He's
the cheap.
accepted it.
I asked him today. I was like, hurry up and give me my goalkeeper. He doesn't want to hurry up.
He said he's made his peace and
He
accepts
fled to
it.
France. You can go to France all you want. I'm still getting your goalkeeper, Mo.
This here,
I'd take Saint-Tropez all day long, to be fair.
this here says I hope y'all